Now.
On 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app.
O'Connor and Company.
Good morning, Washington. It's 8:37 on this Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. Thanks for tuning into O'Connor and Company. I'm Julie Gunlock, sitting in for Larry O'Connor alongside Hans von Spakovsky. I love saying that. It's the last half hour. I don't want to stop saying it. I might be saying that at 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, so you got special brownie points. You got it right.
Thank you. Joining us now is retired 4-star General Jack Keane. An honor to talk to you, General. Thank you for joining us today, and happy Veterans Day.
Thank you, Julie. Appreciate being here.
General Keane, we want to talk to you about this reported Iranian plot to assassinate the president, but I'd love to get your thoughts on the election and some of the global actions we've already seen since Trump was reelected. For instance, Qatar demanding Hamas leadership leave the country. We've got the EU president saying they plan to start buying oil from America. It looks like Trump is already restoring deterrence among these global threats. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. The election is going to have a seminal effect on our adversaries in the world. I mean, the reality is that our four adversaries over the last 4 years, China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, are cooperating, collaborating, and coordinating together on a scale that exceeded the expectations of our intelligence agencies, which have provided that public testimony to the Congress. And as such, it's not isolated that Russia invaded Ukraine because they thought they'd get away with it, that the Iranians would operationalize their proxies to finally try to destroy the state of Israel and drive the United States out of the region. President Xi increased the tempo of his intimidation and coercion campaign against our allies in the region, to include Taiwan. All of that has been happening, and I was on a congressional commission and looked at all of this, and we believe that we were in a pre-war era heading towards the potential of global war. And the reason is because they believe that the United States American leadership is weak and that we would not politically confront them, that we lack the political will to do that. And now, as a result of this election, every one of those four countries and those leaders have to reassess what is happening in America, what is President-elect Trump going to do when he becomes president, what actions are he's going to take. And they are going through that thought press now. I mean, they clearly want to take advantage of what they see as the United States in decline. I disagree with that. But nonetheless, that's their perception. So they can advantage themselves and reduce the United States' influence and like-minded democracies in the world. So already, without Trump actually taking office, we're beginning to see some of that reassessment, and you just mentioned it. And some other, we're not going to see it, but we'll eventually see it in actions. And I believe when President Trump does take office, he is going to return our political will to confront our adversaries, not with just rhetoric, but demonstrating to them a willingness to stop this aggression that's taken advantage of U.S. national interest.
Well, General Keane, on that, what you just talked about, the perception of weakness, a foreign government targeting one of our former president's candidate for president in an assassination plot, that is an act of war by anyone's definition. And yet, other than the arrest of some of the people involved, we've seen absolutely no other action taken by this administration. My question to you is, what kind of other actions do you think the government should have taken, whether it's military strikes or other things? What would you have recommended to President Biden if you'd been asked about it?
Yes, I would have recommended that we take a military strike against them for attempting to kill the president of the United States. How we can let that stand and just use rhetoric and condemn them is an absurdity. But look at the pattern of behavior, Hans. I mean, they have attacked U.S. bases in the region since January of 21 over 300 times. They are firing ballistic missiles at Navy warships who are attempting to protect the seagoing lanes in the Suez Canal and the Red Sea, and they have de facto shut down the Suez Canal now for months. The CENTCOM commander Hans, General Eric Kurula has recommended to this administration over 120 targets inside of Iran to stop this aggressive behavior of theirs in the region against U.S. interests. None of those targets are economic targets, and none of them are nuclear. They're all military IRGC-type targets. None of them would give Iran the impression that we want to go to war with them. All we want to do is stop their aggressive behavior. And all of that has been rejected. So it's not surprising that even now, when they're trying to kill the president of the United States, and it's a bona fide campaign to do that, confirmed by the FBI and CIA, that no action is taken. I mean, it's shameful that we tolerate that kind of thing.
Yeah, and dangerous, because when you don't retaliate, when you don't go back, you're just inviting even worse behavior by the other side. And it seems like the current administration just doesn't understand that.
They never have. They've always put appeasement and diplomacy first. They've never backed it up with a credible military use of force. And you talk to any leader who's led the State Department, and I've talked to many of them, and I know that Blinken at times is very frustrated myself from actual contact with senior people in the State Department, that we're not backing up diplomacy with the credible threat of force. And it gives then the diplomats a much stronger hand to play. In this case, it's not a diplomatic action we take. It's kinetic action to make sure that they're going to stop this kind of behavior.
General Keane, it's always such an honor to talk to you, especially on Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to you. You have had an incredible military career, and we are so grateful for your service.
Oh, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Hans, and happy Veterans Day to everyone out there who served in wars and also helped to prevent wars. We're indebted to all of them. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Thank you. We've got more coming up. It's 8:40.